Hi, I'm Holly, and this is Before the Book is Finished for readers who love the story behind the story. I know that's what I like to read. What I love to talk about today is probably something that you may not have read about before. First, I'd like to just say that I had the idea for my debut novel back in 2022, but I didn't actually write it until 2025. Ah, so now that that book is written, I'm actually discovering that writing the book was maybe only 20% of that full process. So instead of waiting until everything is polished and published, I wanted to start sharing this journey while it's unfolding. All right. The first thing that I would love to chat about today on Before the Book is Finished is this idea that would not leave. Okay. When I first came up with my book idea, I was traveling around Australia in my caravan with my two children, 5 and 2 years old. We were having the time of our life. I was creatively not really like doing a lot to, work or create, or we were just kind of living our lives in this like beautiful moment of family connection after like a time of really um working a lot and not being together and really just enjoying each other's company. And so I had about 2 or 3 months, maybe even more, 4 or 5 months, where I was really immersed in this beautiful family bubble of traveling and enjoying time together. So during that time, I had a dream. Okay. I had a dream and I woke up and I've always heard, I have no idea where I heard this, but I remember hearing always write down your dreams. Like write down your dreams when you wake up in the night and write them down, because when you wake up in the morning, then you don't remember them. Okay. So I have always been someone who will wake up in the middle of the night and want to jot down my dreams, even if nothing comes of it. I'm always like curious about what I was dreaming about, what it could mean, how it translate in my life, all of that. And this particular dream, I wrote it down that night, but I also woke up that morning and it was just pulsing in my mind. I needed to get the story off my chest. I actually took my kids to at the time they were going to school and my husband was working. We were just kind of coming off the caravan trip. And I went back home and I recorded, voice noted everything, probably 3 chapters, 4 chapters worth of a book from this dream, from this one idea of this dream. It just took on a whole new life, but it stopped there. Okay. I did that and I left it. So many things happened right after that. My dad got sick. We ended up going back to America for 6 weeks. I sold my parenting business. I started a new job. We bought a house in a new town. I mean, there was so much packed into the time right after I wrote this book down that I actually did not pick up this idea. I knew it was there. I remembered it was there. It kept calling to me, but it was never the right time. And finally, I found myself back into a place where it was the right time to start getting serious about writing my book. So, early 2025, I finally picked the pen back up and I started writing. Technically, it was a laptop, not a pen. Don't worry, I'd have extreme hand cramps. I was writing 80,000 words. Anyways, so that is where the idea came from. And that is how long, I mean, that's 3 years that it took me to go from idea to actual physical written book. So, what I love most about that particular story is the fact that my excitement for this project never died down. There was always that seed in my mind laying there telling me, don't forget, don't forget. And I couldn't. I truly couldn't. And so it was a really, really exciting time when I finally picked the pen back up, so to speak. And I realized I was working probably part-time, and I realized I needed to get really serious about it. So the surprising part for me during this journey of writing the book was how fun the process actually was. I ended up booking an Airbnb for myself, and I wanted to get those first 10,000 words in just to really pick up some momentum so that I could actually keep moving forward versus, getting stuck, getting busy with life, getting busy with business, whatever it was. I really wanted to get that ball rolling. And I also set myself a challenge of finishing my book, which was intended to be 80,000 words in 3 months' time. So I booked that Airbnb at the end of February, and I actually finished writing it at maybe the middle of May. So I accomplished my goal. I was so happy about that. It really gave me a lot of lessons in devotion, consistency, making sure I was writing every day. I love the lessons that I learned from other authors. There's so many ways you can do things. There's no right or wrong. It's just what's right for you. And for me, it truly was picking the pen up every single day and making sure to try to, I think my goal was like 1,000 words a day. Now, did I do it every day? No, but it was the same as like doing any sort of exercise, right? You got to just keep going, and as soon as you fall out of it, it's harder to get back into it. So I knew if I could keep doing it, it'd be easier to keep doing it than taking a big long break and trying to get back into it. And that actually was really truly one of the biggest things that allowed me to complete my challenge and my goal of the 3 months writing process, because had I not done 1,000 words a day, I would be going back. What I realized is going back to read 40,000 words takes a lot longer than just picking the pen back up and writing the next 1,000 words. So at the start, I was rereading everything I'd written, and then I was writing more. And then the next day or the day after, I was rereading everything I had written and then writing more. And it was taking me forever. So, one trick that I learned, what I'll share with you, if you are writing anything in particular, this could help for you as well. The tip that I really, really thought that helped was not to end on the chapter or at the end of the chapter, because you're coming to a complete stop and your mind stopped thinking about what's happening next. And so if you pick up your pen at the point of what's happening next, you're like, oh, now I need to go back and read that because I need to remember what happened before to know what happens next. However, if you're in the creative flow and things are moving, instead of stopping that day at the end of the chapter, you write at least 3 or 4 sentences of the next chapter to get the ball rolling right away when you pick up the pen again the next day. That one tip allowed me to do the 1,000 words a day so much easier because I was leading into that next chapter. So when I picked it up the next day, I knew exactly where I was heading into the next phase of the book. Okay. That is my fun little tip for you today. But really, the difference between imagining writing a book and actually doing it um, was surprisingly that it was fun. I kind of had thought, oh, this is going to be a big process. I don't know if I can do this. Who am I to think that I can write a book? I am not some, creative writing a degree, a diploma holder. I literally had this idea and wanted to bring it to life. That was it. So for me, that was a really fun lesson. Now, I'll tell you, there was another lesson which, oh my goodness, I'm still learning this lesson today. I'm still dealing with this particular lesson. Um, and generally, the book writing was the fun part, right? Not that I was surprised that I would have fun. I'm a creative person. I love doing these type of creative activities and endeavors, but what came after writing the book, that's where the real lessons began for me, which was editing. Okay. It was publishing, it's formatting, it's all of the things that you don't think about when you think about writing a book. that's the part that has been the hardest for me because I wrote this book, as I mentioned, early 2025, and it is now about mid 2026, and the book has not been published. I'm currently querying agents, which is very exciting, but it is a slow process. I mean, we're talking molasses here, okay? I have never been in an industry. Previously, I've done online work, course creating, social media. Everything I have ever done is a very fast paced um type of work. I used to work in nursing as well. Like everything is just so much faster. And now when I'm getting to this book, I thought, oh wow, I am having the biggest lesson in patience. If my kids have not already taught me this, I'm certainly learning it now, okay? Because everything moves at the pace of molasses in the book journey. Uh to think I'm going to be sending out 100 different query letters to 100 different agents. And then if I get chosen as one of their clients, then we go on submission to publishers where we kind of start that process all over again until we find a publisher who's ready to publish the book. It is such an incredible feat to get a book published, let me tell you. Okay. So we will see how we go. I'm not quite at that stage yet, but of course, I'll be keeping you updated here on this podcast as I go. But for me, that really was the biggest lesson. And who doesn't need a lesson in patience? Like, I don't know. Me, definitely. I do. So that brings me to, why does this podcast exist? Now, I really hope that listeners are going to feel inspired to act on their own ambitions. All right. To me, it's like I don't want to just be writing, right? I don't want to just be doing this stuff. I want to actually make it into something for everyone. And that's an ambition that I've had throughout all my years online. I have been working online in one way or another, marketing through communities, through groups, through, you know, learning like online course learning. All of that really has been about learning the next thing, doing the next thing, and following my ambitions, following that kind of inner guidance that tells me, write the book, right? So I really want to inspire you to listen to your inner guidance as well. It doesn't mean we have to do these things perfectly. It doesn't mean we have to show up exactly perfect mold of whatever you think is perfect. In fact, coming into this podcast, I wanted to make it imperfect. I wanted to make it exactly what it is because I want to show you that no matter what that is, what that little voice is telling you to do in your mind, you know, as long as it's legal, that you should really be following that inner guidance as females, as women. We really have that intuition built into us. And unfortunately, society likes to make sure we're not listening to it and that we're getting on the career path and we're being good moms and we're doing all these things for other people. But what about us, right? You need to have a fulfilled life. Um, and honestly, just creating with a purpose for the higher good, like that truly is something magnetic to me that I can't turn away from. And that's why I'm here today. So I hope that even just a little bit of that will inspire you to do something that you might not have done before hearing this. Okay, so let go of all of those should do's. I should do this, I should do that. Let go of that stuff. I mean, yeah, pick up your kids from school. You got to feed them, right? There's things we have to do, but it doesn't mean we have to completely ignore our passions and our purpose in order to get that stuff done. Okay. Hopefully that's inspiring to you guys. Now, like I said, I was so surprised with this particular book process. Um, the fact that, only 20%, I'm just making up a complete random number, but only 20% of this process has been writing the book when the other 80% is editing, querying, marketing, platform building, emotional vulnerability. I mean, all of these things really can drag a person down. Luckily, I've had a lot of experience here with marketing and just being open and coming in and talking to you guys like this. The editing and querying process, brand new to that. And so that was, I've never heard the word comma splice or dangling modifier more in my life. So I learned a lot from the editing process. Let me tell you, I've also learned a lot about character arcs and world building, and honestly, such an amazing journey. Just putting myself through the process and giving myself the experience, that alone has had a growth. Like, I've had so much growth from that. It's unbelievable. The fact that I even know what a comma splice is testament to that. So, I would love to kind of close each of these podcast episodes out with something called What I'm Reading Now, which is so important to me because writers are readers, readers are writers, however you want to look at it. I started my writing journey. I've always been a reader, I've always read, but in the last couple of years, I have exploded my reading habits. Okay. I basically don't watch TV and really only read for entertainment. So I have read a lot of books, over 200 books in the last couple of years. So I love to talk about those books. I love to review them. I love to shout out to other authors who are doing amazing things, whether they're, bestsellers or indie authors, like love for all of them. And so what I'd love for this particular segment to be is please let me know, what are you reading now? Because I need more suggestions. I need more books on my TBR. Yes, there is already 300 books on the TBR, but I need more. Okay. I'm a mood reader. Hands up. Are you a mood reader? Because if you are, you will know that even though I have 300 books on my TBR, if I'm not in the mood for any of those books, I will find a new one to add to it so that I can read it. Okay. So I want to tell you what I'm reading now, which is Direbound by Sable Sorensen, who is two authors. Absolutely amazing. She got traditionally published after being an indie author. She wrote the first, or they wrote the first book. I think it was in like May 2025. I'm not sure. It came out in maybe May or June 2025. And I'm rereading it right now because I just got her sequel to this book, which is Furybound. And I am so dying to read it. I'm flying through Direbound right now because I can't wait to figure out what happens in Furybound, but I don't want to get confused. So I read the first one again because it's been a year, and I'm going to read the second one next. I'm literally so excited for it. So let me know, have you read them? What did you think? And yeah, I would love to hear more from you about what you're reading, about if you are a writer and what your journey has been. Are you querying? Are you writing? Where are you in the book publishing process? Keep me up to date. Okay. Now, if you love books, storytelling, and following the messy middle of becoming something new, I'd love to have you here while the story is still unfolding. And if you want to read along with me, you can join our book club. The information for that is below. We are in Fable, which is our book club's called Weekend Romantasy Readers. You will love it. We chat, we give our theories, we laugh, we cry. It's everything, and we would love you to join us. All right. Until next time, I will see you soon. Bye bye.